Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to discuss the inner join, and we're going to go over two specific methods of creating an inner join. An inner join enables you to retrieve data from multiple tables in one query. Now, whenever you create an inner join, you must identify three types of information in your query. You want to identify the columns you want to display, the tables to retrieve data from, and then lastly, the relationship between the tables. Take a look at our tables that we're going to be using today for our inner join. The customer table contains customer data, as you can see right here. And then here's the orders table, and it contains customers' orders. Now, each of these tables, both of these tables are related through a primary and foreign key relationship. This customer ID is the primary key in the customer table, but the customer ID in the orders table is a foreign key. So the relationship between the two tables is through the customer ID field. For our first query, we're going to list all of the customers and their date of purchases. So here's our query. And remember, there's three parts that you want to identify. So we're going to be querying the customer and the orders table. And we're going to list the first name, the last name, and the order date. Because remember I said earlier you have to list the columns you want to display. So in this case, we're going to display these columns. And then you want to also list the tables that you want to retrieve data from. So we want to retrieve data from the customer table and the orders table. And then lastly, you have to show the relationship between the tables. So we use the where clause, and these tables are related, as we said earlier, through the customer ID field. So the customer ID in the customer table is the primary key, and the customer ID in the orders table is the foreign key. So you have to specify that and put in the equality in between that. Then we're going to click execute. And as you can see, we have the first name, the last name, and the order dates of all the orders for the customers. Now this query uses SQL 89 syntax, but there's another way you can also do the same query that's equivalent using SQL 92 syntax. And here's our query. So we're going to use first name, last name, and order date columns again, but this time we're going to say from customer inner join orders. So instead of using a comma for this syntax, we're using the inner join keywords. Now whenever you use the inner join keywords, you can't use the where. Instead, we're using the on keyword that actually it works exactly like the where, but you're using on because the on is used in combination with inner join. So on shows the relationship between the two tables. So we click execute, and you have the same equivalent results. Okay, for our next query, we're going to list all of the customers who purchased two specific plans. So this time, we're going to identify the columns we want to display, which is all the columns. Whenever you use the asterisk, that means all. So we're going to select all the columns this time. And we're going to query two tables from the customer and orders table, and we're using the SQL 89 syntax. So we put a comma there. And then where, the where clause is showing the relationship between the tables. But this time, we're going to use and. We want to make sure that the plan ID is in or equal to L2001 or D1002. So we click execute. And as you can see, these are all the customers who purchased plan ID L2001 and D1002. So here's their plan IDs. As you can see, it's one of the two that we specified here. We have the order date, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed learning about inner joins today. If you'd like more in-depth learning, please check out my SQL course in the description section below.